No Republican has ever won a contested Iowa caucus by more than 12.8%. Donald Trump broke the record and won by 30%. The lefty communists in the media were so fully trumped by the win that they couldn't stand it. Here's Rachel Madcow warning of the MAGA movement's push for extremism.
But there is an authoritarian movement inside Republican politics that isn't being bamboozled by Trump. They are pushing Trump to get more and more extreme.
But it could be that the lefties in the media simply cannot wrap their heads around their own lack of influence, that voters are ignoring their gaslighting garbage. Like the worn-out card of race. But when you're Joyless Reed, what else do you really have? She called Iowa voters racist who hated the brown women. Let's take a listen.
And I think to the point that you made, Steph, I mean, it's the elephant in the room. She's still a brown lady that's got to try to win in a party that is deeply anti-immigrant and which accepts the notion that you can say immigrants are poisoning the blood of our country. She's getting, birthered by Donald Trump.
Nikki Haley's getting birthered by Trump? What in the actual, I don't know what was more fun for MAGA voters. The full Trump of Iowa or the full Trump effect on the lefties in the media? Here to discuss is director at MRC-TV, Eric Scheiner. Eric, thanks for being with us. It's great to see you.
Hey, thanks for having me back.
Yeah, so Eric, there was so much meltdown by the meat puppets in the media. I couldn't pull them all, but I think Joy Reid calling Iowa voters racist who hate brown people is gotta be close to the top. What are your thoughts? Any others that you'd like to mention here?
Oh, and of course she made those comments when she was talking about Nikki Haley. So even Nikki Haley was like, we live in different America. She made a comment saying, I don't live in this racist America that Joy Reid and the whole MSNBC staff lives in. It's another world. It's just like Rachel Madcow having her meltdown. All they have is to scream racism and fascism, because they can't talk about any real political issues. They don't want to talk about the border. They don't want to talk about the economy. Those aren't the issues that their guy is out there talking about. No, he's running around screaming white supremacy, because all they can do is divide the nation and try to get a vote that way, because they don't want to talk about real issues. This is what they're doing. I mean, Joy Reid, the real elephant in the room, she's like, this is the elephant in the room. No, the real elephant in the room is the blonde wig. What is up with that? It just looks a little weird.
Very strange.
That's the real elephant in the room. But that's the stuff, they don't want to discuss. They want to say it's fascist, but they don't want to discuss, whose FBI is looking at Latin Catholic masses in Virginia for terrorists. They don't want to look at the DOJ that's, looking at parents who don't like biological boys in their girls' locker rooms and bathrooms as terrorists if they speak out at school board meetings. That kind of screams a little more fascist. Who's the guy that got rid of our incandescent light bulbs? Who's the person that's fighting gas stoves, putting marks on, limits on how many cars can be manufactured that run on fossil fuel? That sounds more like fascism, but that's not what they want to discuss.
Of course not. They can never address the real issue, because then, of course, they would all be outed for being complicit in this absolute tyranny that we're seeing. But I'm glad that, it seems most people are waking up to this and are well aware that they're just full of it. I think the icing on the cake was the fact that they were so angry that most refused to even play Trump's victory speech. And the few that did just talked over him the entire time, denigrating the voters. I mean, I think that's a pretty stupid strategy for the Democrat spokespeople, wouldn't you say?
Well, here we go. You showed Rachel Maddow right at the beginning talking about, fascism and the Republicans are supporting fascism. What is more a sign of a fascist propaganda network other than we're going to talk about insane stuff about one particular candidate, and we're going to hammer one particular candidate, but we're not going to let him speak ever on the air. We don't want to ask. You have to listen to my insane rantings, but we have a very high standard at MSNBC. We can't possibly let you hear what Trump has to say. I mean, how can you rant about fascism when that's your on-air tactic? It's absolutely stupid and insane.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Eric. That is a fantastic point. I think that just sums it up beautifully right there. I mean, I don't know what more evidence you need to see that that is indeed the case. They are the real fascists, but we know they call everyone else what they are. They just constantly deflect.